13,500 years ago, new life began to appear in Scotland's mountains as the big thaw set in. The world's last ice age was, at last, well and truly over. The oceans rose and soils warmed. Forests grew and covered the land.
Welcome to Cairngorm Mountain. My name is Jim Cornfoot. I'm in charge of interpretation here. As well as being a fantastic area for skiing and winter climbing, ice climbing, mountaineering, it's a great place to visit and explore the flora and fauna. So I really would encourage you out onto the hillside, visit the mountain garden and some of our trail network and explore and see more at your own leisure. We've been working for the past 8 years with local school children, enabling them to come up and plant up this mountain woodland. And the last 4 years it's really gone on to another level. We became part of the Action for Mountain Woodlands, and we're trying to promote mountain woodlands to the general public. And as part of that, we've been working with the local schools, and they've been growing little trees, and then they come out every autumn and plant them out on the hillsides. When we get them off the bus, we get them into the building, give them a bit of a run through. Because they've been working with the plants before, we give them a little test, and they use these little tree cards, which are a great little way of investigating and trying to identify the different trees. What tree is that one then? Scots pine. Who thinks it's a Scots pine? Well done. And then we get them up through the garden, and then they can actually see what their plants are going to look like when they're grown on a little bit. So it's a great way of showing them before they go out on the hill.
We've got 3 levels here in the garden representing different areas of the hillside. So we have plants from the plateau and the summit, and then we have the plants from the middle of the mountain and the montane scrub habitat, and then right down to the low montane areas as well, with the Scots pine and the birches down there.
People are quite surprised that there's trees up here. Quite often they're asking what the trees are, like the Scots pine here. This one here is about 8 or 9 years old, and if you were in the forest and it was an 8 or 9 year old tree, it would be probably 3 times the height of this.
Alright, what do you think this tree is? In Cairngorm Mountains you can experience everything from really cold Arctic climate that you find in Scandinavia to some real windy, wet weather coming off the Atlantic. So it's the first landmass that the storm systems hit. The way the wind's coming today is the strongest wind. That's called the prevailing wind. That comes from the south. The highest wind speed recorded in the UK was at Cairngorm summit, which was 186 miles an hour. So it's not unusual at all to get this type of weather here.
Because of the weather, the winds, the cold, the ice, the rain, in this location here we've got quite a bit of shelter. So this has had a good chance of it. Something similar age to this up on the ridge behind us. They'll be a lot smaller, they won't be as healthy looking as this.
Closer look. So far we've planted 8,000 trees by 1,400 school children.
Down nice and gently.
So it gives them a feeling of ownership of the mountain, and it's a great day out.
Glenmore in itself is one of the areas that has the highest level, altitude-wise, of Scots pine within Scotland. Within Glenmore, they are an essential part of that whole community of the Cairngorm Park.
Up here, the climate goes from temperate to Arctic within a few thousand feet. And so that people can get up close to the montane scrub, which grows high up in the Cairngorms here, they've created this garden. Now, This is a lovely little specimen, Billy. What have we got here?
What we have here is a dwarf juniper, Juniperus communis nana for its proper Latin name. It's the dwarf version of the common juniper that you see lower down the hills that people use to flavour their gin or to make sauces for meat, etc. This particular plant can be distinguished between the common form by giving it the pat test, where you can very gently press it, and if it sticks into your hand, then it's the common version. If it doesn't stick into your hand, it's the dwarf nana version of the juniper.
I guess a lot of these plants are small and low just purely due to the climatic conditions on the tops there.
It is, it's to do with the climate, but also this particular dwarf plant has slightly shorter and fatter needles, and the needles are very slightly curved, so that whenever you then put your hand on top, the needles aren't then sticking into you.
And it's these skills which make a collaborative approach between volunteer groups more effective.
What we've tried to do is just focus entirely on mountain plants found in the Cairngorm mountains, and it means that everything's in close vicinity to the car park, and it's good for groups and hill walkers who want to get into a bit more deeper into mountain plants and learn a little bit more about them. We have a lot of scrub natural regeneration on the mountain. We've tried to kick-start this with projects involving local communities and wider school groups. So what the idea behind that is we give every child in the primary school age up and down the valley here a chance to grow on a tree and then take it up in the autumn and plant it out, so they get a feeling of ownership and it connects them to the mountain.
We couldn't do the work without the volunteers at Cairngorm and at Glenmore. They are an essential part of the project.
As the groundswell of public opinion grows and positive intervention takes place on our hillsides, the benefits to the wider ecosystem are now being recorded over the entire country. To achieve the wider regeneration of montane scrub is going to take time and the cooperation of those who manage the countryside. This is likely as new integrated approaches are introduced and implemented in the future.